What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. Thanks for spending part of your day to talk some Steelers football with us. We got a great show lined up for you today. I'm going to be giving you 10 first-round draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the 2023 offseason. It's going to be a great show, but before we get into today's action, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now if you want daily Steelers news and rumors content. We are only 18 subscribers away from 20.5K, guys, so go ahead, do your part. If you love the black and gold here, you want to be a part of a great community of over 20,000 Yinzers that love the black and gold, that want to see them return to glory. We're going to be doing a bunch of great stuff coming up. We got a mock draft coming out tomorrow. We got a bunch of other draft stuff coming out in the weeks to come. Also free agency, and then also breaking news coverage of whenever the Steelers make a cut. Every time they make a signing, we're going to have you covered with breaking news coverage here on the channel. So for your comprehensive Steelers news and rumors this offseason, consider subscribing to the channel today. All right, so now let's get into my top 10 draft targets. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go to pretty much two position groups, because I think that the Steelers are going to be looking for either a future left tackle in the first round, or they're going to be looking for a future CB1, someone that can anchor the secondary for a long time. I think these two positions are definitely the biggest needs for the Steelers going into the offseason. So we're mainly going to be talking about left tackles and cornerbacks today. And without further ado, let's go with my number one fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers at left tackle, which is Broderick Jones, the Georgia left tackle. He had a fantastic season in 2022, former five-star recruit out of high school. He's got all the physical tools that you look for, the size, the foot speed could be a bit better, but it's still pretty decent, right? He's straight up nasty in the run game, guys. Like, as a run blocker, this guy will just maul somebody. This guy has the mentality that not only that Mike Tomlin loves, but it's just the consummate Pittsburgh Steeler mentality to just go over and run somebody over. This guy has that type of mentality. He's got all the physical tools that you look for in terms of pass protection. And then speaking of pass protection, he gave up 0 sacks in the SEC this year. So, some people want to say that this guy's foot speed isn't that great, that he drags his feet sometimes in pass protection. And that is true at times, but at the end of the day, the production's there in the best conference in college football. I really think that he's going to be a good player moving forward. And his mentality, and then you take his mentality and his measurables, I think that it makes him the perfect left tackle prospect for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving into the future. I think that he's got Pittsburgh Steeler written all over him. And if he's there, this is probably the guy that I would end up taking if I were Omar Khan, the Steelers GM. I think that this guy is just a fantastic prospect. I think that he would be great for Kenny Pickett. I think that he would be great for the Steelers organization as a whole. Get him on a rookie contract. It would be fantastic for the Steelers. So let me know in the comments section right now, who do you want the Steelers to draft in the first round of the 2023 NFL draft? Let me know. It could be a left tackle. It could be a cornerback. It could be a linebacker. I don't care. Just put your favorite player in the comment section right now. This is the pinned comment of today's video. So go ahead and go into the comment section whenever you get an ad break here on the video and answer today's question. So number 2 on my current offensive tackle rankings is Peter Skoronski. He's just a stud out of Northwestern, man. He reminds me a lot of Rashad Slater. Slater is one of the best left tackles in football. So if this guy reminds me of that guy, it should really speak volumes for how highly I regard Peter Skoronski. Okay, he had one of the highest PFF grades in terms of pass protection that PFF has ever seen in terms of pass protection grading this year. He was 5th overall in the country. And then he was a first-team All-American this year with Northwestern this year. But some are concerned about the arm length. So usually with offensive tackles, to be able to prevent long arms from opposing edge rushers, they really like arm lengths because you can really just grab a hold of somebody and just lock them in. But Skoronski can't do that. But at the end of the day, guys, his technique is impeccable. The foot speed is incredible. His mirroring ability is great. He's good in the run game. He does everything well, just like Rashad Slater did when he was coming out of Northwestern. So I really think that Skoronski's going to be fine. So at the end of the day, he is my number 2 prospect. And with the Steelers looking to add some protection for Kenny Pickett this year, you need some protection from spending money you don't don't need, you can do that by using or downloading our sponsors app here with Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. Guys, before I started using Rocket Money, I was paying a bunch of money on streaming services I wasn't really using, all this different stuff. It just wasn't a great situation. I needed to get that under control, so I downloaded this app, and it shows you all of your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you what you still don't want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't even know that you were paying for, and you may even find out that you've been double charged for a subscription, which is what happened to me. I was paying for 2 Netflix accounts, and I didn't even know about it. To cancel subscription on the Rocket Money app, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest for you. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/Steelers Talk to help out the channel a little bit, but also help your financial situation. For me, guys, I've been saving a bunch of money. Help me a lot with my Christmas shopping. Inflation obviously is tough on everybody's pocketbook right now, so you don't need to be spending money that you're not really using with streaming services, all this different stuff that you're paying for but maybe not using. So go to rocketmoney.com/Steelers Talk to take care of this problem for yourself. Number 3 on my left tackle prospect ranking so far is Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. And this guy's a good player, man. He might be 3rd on my list, but I think that he is absolutely worth the Steelers' 17th overall pick in the NFL draft. He had a really great grade, a PFF grade this year. It really went up a lot from previous years, which is good to see. You can see the progression that he's making. And then plain simply, guys, this guy's got all the tools. He's got the long arms, he's got the foot speed, he's got the size, he's got the power. He looks like in terms of body shape, in terms of body size, in terms of athleticism, this guy looks like one of the top left tackles in the National Football League. And he might not be as consistent as Jones or Skoronski from a technical standpoint, in my opinion. I think that sometimes he can get his mirroring ability isn't as good as some of those guys, but at the end of the day, he's a really good prospect. I think that he could certainly become a really good left tackle in the National Football League. And I think really these top 3 guys, Skoronski, Jones, and Paris Johnson Jr., they're really the cream of the crop. And then there's a bit of a decline here to our 4th guy here, which, some people have him as a 2nd-round pick, Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. Really the big knock on him is his play strength, right? So he's not going to be a dominant run blocker. He's not going to be somebody, and he is actually going to be somebody that's going to get bullied by guys like Myles Garrett. Some of the guys that have really, really good bull rushes, this guy's going to get bullied a bit early on in his career. So some people think that he's a 2nd-round pick, but because I think the left tackle class is so slim this year, I think this guy is going to creep up into the 1st round. And I don't know if I'd use the 17th overall pick on him if I were the Steelers, but if the other 3 tackles are gone and you still want to take a left tackle, I think this guy will be there. So it might be a little bit of a reach, but I think because he's so technically sound, because he's so good with his punches, with his hand placement, with all these different technical aspects, kind of reminds me a little bit of Charles Cross from last year, where he's not going to be physically imposing. I think he's going to be a riser on draft boards this spring. I think that he's going to end up a 1st-round draft pick. I don't know if he will be on the Steelers' radar at number 17, but I think he's someone to keep your eye on. All right, guys, so go in the comment section right now and pick one of these offensive tackles to draft. If the Steelers need to draft an offensive tackle, they set their mind to drafting one. Which guy would you want to take? Type BG if you think Broderick Jones, type PJ for Paris Johnson Jr., type PS for Peter Skoronski, and then type AH for Anton Harrison. So now let's go over some cornerback prospects here. Number 1 on my list right now is Christian Gonzalez. I think that he is the most complete cornerback prospect in this year's draft class. I really like him. I took him with the 1st-round pick in my last Steelers mock draft. I wouldn't mind if the Steelers took him whatsoever. But number 2 on my list, a bit of a surprise, Devon Witherspoon, somebody that's kind of being seen as like a 2nd or 3rd-round draft pick by some people right now. But when I watch this kid's film, I can't tell you why. He was the 2nd highest graded cornerback in the country by Pro Football Focus this last year, and he just does everything well. Like he's a great athlete. He's got fluid hips. He really moves well. He tackles well in the run game. He rarely misses tackles. I mean, it's like every single play when I watch him, I'm like, yep, that's a good rep. That's a good rep. Oh, another good rep. It's like this guy just stacks good reps on top of each other. He's got the body to be a true lockdown number 1 cornerback. in the National Football League. I think he's going to end up being at least a top 15 draft pick come April. And right now, the consensus board has him at like 35 overall. And I'm like, there's no way he's getting that far down, in my opinion. This guy's just too good. I think that he's an incredible prospect, and he's the number 2 corner on my list right now. And then we round out the rest of the position. I really like Cam Smith out of South Carolina, hard hitter, definitely Pittsburgh Steeler type of mentality. Very aggressive corner, decent ball skills there. I like him a lot. Kelly Ringo, a bit more on the raw side, but he's definitely got the size and speed that NFL teams look for. Another guy that's very aggressive and a hard hitter. And then speaking of hard hitters, Joey Porter Jr., another physical freak. Honestly, if you wanted to put him number 1 on your list, are any of these guys number 1 on your list, I would be okay with that. All 5 of these guys are really, really great prospects. They all have something that you look for when you're talking about what you want in a franchise cornerback 1. But you only draft a cornerback if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion, if all the left tackles are gone. So, especially if the top 3 are gone. If Skoronski, Johnson, and Jones are all gone by your pick, that's when you start looking at cornerback. Now, you could potentially address left tackle in free agency, or you could trade for somebody like a Donovan Smith from Tampa Bay. But at the end of the day, guys, if you don't take a left tackle in free agency, Dan Moore Jr., I do not think is the future of that position. And I think the first round is really the only place where you're going to get a reliable option at left tackle. And then also, you look at this cornerback class, it's extremely deep, right? Day 2 corners, there's a bunch of them, guys. You could get Emmanuel Forbes, someone with some of the best ball skills I've ever seen on film, somebody that's probably going to go day 2. Clark Phillips, the third, he's a bit smaller. Reminds me a lot of Asante Samuel Jr. that plays for the Chargers, a bit smaller, but really, really, really great mirroring ability, great man coverage, zone coverage. He's a stud. Jalen Jones a bit bigger. Same thing with Eli Ricks. And then Garrett Williams, someone that has the body of a number 1 lockdown corner from Syracuse, but he's dealt with some injuries, probably going to go day 2. So there's plenty of good cornerback prospects. So the Steelers don't necessarily need to take one on day 1. I would go after the left tackle, but let me know what you guys think in the comments section. What should the Steelers draft in round 1 of the 2023 NFL draft? Type LT or CB if you think cornerback, LT for left tackle, of course. So before we go, we have one last draft target. You might have noticed that we had 4 offensive tackles and then 5 cornerbacks. So that leaves one more player in my top 10, and that one player is Jordan Addison, the wide receiver out of USC, former Pitt Panther, won the Biletnikoff Award, which means he was the best wide receiver in college football, with Kenny Pickett, with the Pitt Panthers, over 100 exactly receptions in 2021. Fantastic season, and he's currently ranked as the wide receiver 2 on the NFL Draft Media's consensus big board right now. So, you combine Kuiper and all these different scouts and all these different people that do this stuff for a living. They're saying that he's the 14th overall prospect, second best wide receiver. And if you bring him in, you have established chemistry with Kenny Pickett. I really think that Jordan Addison is somebody that would click with Kenny Pickett. He reminds me a lot of Deontay Johnson, actually, which is kind of crazy because Deontay Johnson's one of the best route runners in the National Football League. But, you look at these two guys, both of them are elite route runners, extremely quick and fast out of their breaks. They can stop and start like that, like in a snap, but they're a bit smaller. They're not the best hands receivers. They're not going to make contested catches all day long. So, you can never have enough guys that get open. But do the Steelers really want to add another Deontay Johnson? That is the question. But if Pittsburgh takes care of left tackle in free agency, let's say they sign like a Taylor Lewan or an Isaiah Wynn in free agency, then that would open up the door for the Steelers to potentially use this 17th overall pick on Jordan Addison, somebody with chemistry with Kenny Pickett, get another guy that can get open and bring these two studs back together. So tomorrow I'm going to be revealing my Steelers mock draft 2.0, guys. We did one last week. Go check that out if you haven't already. But tomorrow we're going to be doing 2.0. So if you want to watch that, if you want to get notified of when that comes out, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you always know when we put out new videos, guys. We put out new videos every day, free agent analysis, draft analysis. We're doing mock drafts every single week. So if you love the Steelers, you want one place where you can get all your Steelers news and rumors from everything from the draft to free agency, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you always know when we put out new videos. And that's going to do it for me today, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. If you made it to the end of the video, you are a true Yinzer. So type "here we go" in the comments section if you made it to the end today. We really appreciate you guys if you make it to the end. So without further ado, guys, that'll be it for me today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.